Batwing number 7, written by Judd Winnick, art by Dustin Nguyen. We left off last issue with Massacre coming to America to kill the last two members of the Kingdom, and this issue picks up with Batwing, Batman, and the man who was formerly Steelback going to stop him and get to the last two members. So this issue is basically just the backstory of the Kingdom and why they disbanded. So apparently there was a war going on just before the nation became the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and the Kingdom was fighting on the side of the People's Army, which was just a revolutionary group of normal civilians. There was Staff, Earthstrike, Razorwire, Steelback, Deity, Thunderfall, and Dawnfire, as well as Josiah Cohn being the science man in the chair. So the other two sides, because this was a three-way war, was Masika Okura, a dictator who was known for just horrible things, just like genocide, and he ruled over the nation. And the third side was a half-dozen warlords who were abducting children from villages in the area to make their armies. And these three people were all vying for power, but the Kingdom sided on the side of the people, and as such, they prospered. They took out the other things, and they were going to make their last stand, the last battle against the dictator. But the Kingdom said, we couldn't be a part of that. We have to let the people be the ones that take out the dictator. It has to be their victory. So they were the ones who had to do it. And they did. They succeeded. They took the country, and it was all on them. But something happened that was an atrocity in the eyes of the Kingdom. And we see Batman has the entire Bat family investigating for Staff and Razorwire, the two people who are in Gotham. Their names are Moses Gawan and Kofi Iranzi, which is very fitting names for their respective names. So they're completely off the grid. There's been no activity, like no phone stuff. They aren't in their homes. They don't know where they are. But anyway, Batwing has Steelback continuing the story. And apparently, as the final battle was coming up, they got a call from the dictator who said at first they thought, oh, you're surrendering, you're going to be giving up, but it turns out he's not surrendering. He's actually going to be teaming up with the warlords against the People's Army. They're both going to share power so that they don't lose it. He's willing to consolidate power if it means he's not outed completely. And all of the Kingdom realizes that the two armies of the warlords and the dictator combined would be enough to completely crush the People's Army. They wouldn't stand a chance. So they're trying to figure out, like, okay, well, we have to go warn them, but none of them have the ability to go get there right now, because as much as they are saying that them staying out of this final battle is for the people's sake, in actuality, they are exhausted and they are weak. So they realize that there's no way they're going to be able to reach the People's Army in time. However, there is a chance. There is something they can do because the dictator is offering them a deal. He will not side with the warlords and stand down his army on the condition that the Kingdom get him out of Africa and he can live out the rest of his days in peace. He gets away with all of his genocidal crimes, but the people will stand victorious. And in the end, they ended up doing the deal. They ended up allowing the warlord to escape. Allowing the dictator to escape. The warlords were left on their own, and they were completely crushed by the army of the people. But their army, the warlords' army, were made up of nothing but kidnapped children. So that was 50,000 kidnapped children dead. So obviously this splintered the group of people who thought that they should have still gone after the dictator. There could have been another way to handle this. Basically, everyone was just completely split on how to handle it. And some mild fighting broke out. Josiah Cohn, the man in the chair, ended up getting a punch to the face. And in the end, the Kingdom was no longer a thing. And nor did they deserve to be in the eyes of Steelback. So Batwing's talking to Batman, and he realizes, I don't think I could have made the same decision in their place. I don't know what I would have done. But at least we have the backstory now, and we know why Massacre is going after them, because he was left standing as a warlord against this army when the dictator made him a promise. And at that moment, Batgirl gets to them, and apparently she's managed to track down that Staff and Razorwire own some warehouses in Gotham. So Robin and Nightwing go and investigate. When they get there, they feel that it's a safe house, that it has reinforced walls, but they smell something like burnt flesh, to which Batman tells them to blow the door open. But before they even get the chance, they are attacked by a whole bunch of lasers, which is apparently how staff works. And Nightwing quickly comes to the conclusion that, wait a minute, hold on, they're not attacking us. They have their own fight going on in the other side of the warehouse. Like, we're not even a part of it. And as they move in closer, they see Razorwire has been killed, and Staff is very soon close behind him. They don't outright say he's been killed, but it's pretty easy to assume that. And Robin makes the point of, like, didn't you say that Massacre works with, like, knives and machetes? Why is he using laser beams and explosions now? And Massacre, he walks out of the dust and he says, no, I'm not using those. I just brought a friend. And we see that behind him is the Steelback armor, which Steelback himself sees. And he's like, oh, dear God, tell your men to get out of there now. So, yeah, that's where we leave off with that. The start of the new arc of, I mean, it's still the continuing arc of the Massacre thing, but it's a new part of him being in Gotham. So, very interesting. I like it a lot. I really like the choice that the Kingdom had to make there, because it's not one that has an easy answer. It's not one that's a super apparent of, like, this is the right thing to do. Sometimes in comics they have a schism in the group, but, like, the answer's pretty obvious as to what it should be. This one is genuinely a hard choice, and I like how they set that up. Art-wise, Dustin Nguyen does a very good job, but it doesn't quite stand up to, I think it was Ben Oliver last arc. I really, really enjoyed that art style, and this is just a step down from that, but it's still very good. It's still a very good art style. So overall, I'd say I have to give this one a 7. Again, I think it's greatly well done. It sets up a great place for them to move forward in terms of why Massacre's doing what he's doing, but it does feel like we're kind of killing off the entirety of the Kingdom. Mark my words, though, Josiah Cone, definitely evil. There's no way he got punched in the face by a member of his own team and didn't turn evil. The fact they showed that specifically, I'm counting on that. So yeah, 7 for this. Definitely looking forward to the next issue.